Okay. Okay. The meeting once again. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah,
started, I think.
yeah, yeah, started.
I'm sending you one database. Yeah, just hold on. Open it. Yeah. The installation you press. Yeah, the up one, upper one.
This one.
Yeah.
New SQL Server standalone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, choose these two options. Next. You have enough space in your C drive?
Yeah. 93 GB.
Hello,
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm sending a SQL Server backup. So just get it downloaded. Next,
I'll click next.
yeah, hold on here.
Okay.
Instances, select all. Okay,
Okay.
that's when next.
Shall I?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I think I do have controller.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, go next.
Okay.
Okay, hold on
Yeah.
here. Uh, it's asking for default instance and named instance.
Hmm.
So what does it make sense? What's an instance? Instance is a complete portfolio of a server. Okay, its database engine, its services, its server identity, So let us not do name the instance. By default, you have to choose default instance. Okay.
Okay.
Whenever its login credential, its security rules, everything, the entire environment
Mm.
will be set as default instance. Okay. So when you access to SQL Server, you have to give the user ID as localhost.
Okay.
Okay. But if you do a named instance, you have to give localhost slash that named instance name.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
what
yeah, tell
would
me.
what would be the difference if between default and named instance? I
As
mean,
I
in
said,
terms
the
of
entire
using.
environment, just like you have a two operating system in one laptop. Okay.
Oh,
What will
okay.
be the difference?
You can choose any, like when you log in.
Yeah, you can have two instances, and can we share the data between one operating system to another operating system?
No.
No. But authorizations, say firewalls, your security rules, your login credentials cannot be shared with another operating system, right?
Yeah.
So you have XP and you have Windows 7.
Mm.
In XP, if you have a user ID, through that user ID you cannot log into Windows 7,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. So instance means it will have a separate database, data dictionary. Data dictionary is a collection of system databases, and the database which you will create that login set to that dictionary only. Okay,
Okay.
the database cluster.
Okay.
So basically the database cluster should be different. Cluster means collection of databases. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so everything would be different. Your login credential, your securities, your permissions, your job, your instances, your services, everything will be different. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so even if you uninstall SQL Server, sometimes your data on your instances would be kept in the C drive.
Okay.
Okay, because those are physical file. So if you are installing once again, and if you're going through default instance, it might not work. You have to go through new instance. Okay, so
Okay.
as you're installing first time, go with default instance.
Okay. So I'll click next.
Just like administrator of your system.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like administrator of your system, if you're not giving any user credential to your operating system, what instance it will take?
Hmm.
It will take as administrator,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Without any credential. So
Okay.
likewise, in default instance, there would be the administrator.
Okay.
Next.
Okay.
It's taking a little time because it's a first time configuration,
Okay.
and the system is creating all the metadata and data dictionaries. Okay,
Okay.
hold on here. The account names. Okay, so, so startup type. Choose the startup type here
Hmm. Which one?
in the drop down. I don't have the control. Can you just leave the
Oh
control?
yeah.
Limit manual.
Manual.
Okay. Okay, just make it automatic. Leave it.
Okay.
This also SQL Server browser automatic. Okay. So SQL Server database engine will be automatically be started when you switch on the system.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So you don't have to basically start the service every time. But if you do it manual, that is also not bad. Your system would be a little bit light. Okay. Well, as and when required, you can start the SQL Server at the same time. Your services will be started.
Okay.
Okay. So you are working in your own system as a developer, then you can choose it manual. But if you are keeping this system as a server, so that around the clock your systems would be giving services, then you
Okay.
have to make it automatic. As and when the system is started, automatically the services, all services will be started.
Okay.
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 Database engine, basically database engine is the main engine which operates, give the services to database, and browser is an engine which will give you the permission to access to database engine. Okay.
Okay.
Even if database is running, but if the browser is not running, you cannot interact with the database.
Okay.
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 Next. Okay. Use your mix mode. What is mix mode and what is Windows authentication mode? There are two different login type. Windows authentication means if you are working on your system only, Windows authentication will work there. Okay, it will not ask you to give any credential while logging to system, SQL Server. Okay,
Okay.
but if you use mix mode, then it is a mixture of Windows authentication and SQL Server authentication. Okay, basically the SQL Server authentication will be added on top of it on Windows authentication. So Windows authentication means if you are logging to the same system, then without any credential you can log into SQL Server.
Okay.
That's Windows authentication. That means SQL Server is if installed in your own machine,
Mm.
then you can, as an administrator, you can log in without any credential.
Okay.
But if you are accessing to your SQL Server from any other system,
Mm.
or 5 users are concurrently accessing to SQL Server by giving the credential from remote system, in that case they cannot cannot be connected through Windows authentication because they are not part of your Windows.
Okay.
Okay, they are remote machines. In that case, you need SQL Server authentication.
Okay.
So you must give a IP address of your system, username which is by default which is SA stands for system administrator,
Okay.
and password you have to specify the password here. So enter the password here. In Windows authentication, it will not ask for any credential. But remember, through from remote machine, if you're trying to connect your machine through Windows authentication, you cannot connect.
Okay.
In that case, you need SQL Server authentication.
Okay.
Give the
So,
password of SQL Server and make sure you should not forget this. This time you have to make it last.
hello?
Hello, can you hear
Hello?
me?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Add current user. Just in the below, add current user.
Okay.
You clicked it, right?
Yeah, I clicked it.
Okay. So this option will give you an authority, say you're not logged in as an administrator and you have logged in as any other normal user, then if you use add current user, it will also authenticate your current user. So your current user will be added in the list.
Okay.
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 But as your administrator, this credential is already added here. Okay. Now go next.
One more doubt. This password, it can be anything, right? It needn't be the system
Yeah,
password.
yeah. Can be anything.
Okay.
So when SQL Server will be installed,
Hmm.
there will be some default databases created in the SQL Server.
Okay.
The default database of SQL Server is master. Okay, master DB. Never try to delete it because it will store the entire databases information. That's a metadata actually. Okay.
Okay.
Now what is metadata? It describes the data about the data, right?
Yeah.
So what is the sizing of the SQL Server? How many databases are there? What are the users you have configured? Everything. So any changes you do, that information has to be stored somewhere. Right? So that will be stored in the master database.
Okay.
Another two database would be uh, report server and report DB. Okay. Now what is report server? As SQL Server is a RDBMS as well as BI tool, okay, it will have a report server and report DB. Okay, so as you are going to create reporting or business intelligence through SQL Server, Microsoft through Microsoft SQL Server BI, so we'll also treat SQL Server as a report server. We'll create the reports in SSRS, okay, SQL Server Reporting Service, and we'll publish the report somewhere in a central database. Okay,
Okay.
that that, that information will be stored in SQL Server report server database.
Okay.
Okay, okay, I'm sending you a database. Just check your mail.
Okay.
You can take it from the chart also. This one. Just open it. Open this link.
Okay, one sec.
Download. Once the SQL Server will be installed, we'll take this backup restored in your database. Asset Management BAK.
Okay.
So this database is a relational database.
Okay.
Here we have a couple of tables and how to share the data between SQL servers. It is not like a flat file. Flat file in the sense Excel, XML, TXT, CSV, your MDB, your Access, MS Access. So these are all the flat file data sources, right?
Okay.
Can you call Word file is a data source? No, it's an unstructured file. But structural databases are Excel, CSV, Word, XML, and Access.
Okay.
So basically, if you're going from the grassroots, you need to learn what are the structural database and what are unstructured database.
Okay.
Structural databases are which can be stored in a table, like in some sort of records. Those are there in Excel, okay, with certain tabular format, like certain rows and columns.
Okay.
Okay, so that is what we call as a structural database, because in BI you more often would be able to hear these terms. Okay, you need to understand that what is structural and what is unstructured. And unstructured data are like Word file, PDF file, PPT, image file. Okay, they are also data. They also use in your application in term of banners, in term of pictures. In your profile you must have a image, okay, profile photo, but that is also data that stores somewhere in your location, either in database or in folder. Okay,
Yeah.
so that is what we call as the unstructured data.
Okay.
You also show the files into your applications. These are all the unstructured data.
Okay.
And structured data are stored in records. Unstructured data stored in folders. Structural data stored in tables. Okay, in form of records. Records are
Unstructured data, where is it stored?
in folders, normal folders.
Okay.
Okay, so how to map unstructured data in your application? Say you are creating a website. Okay, in your website, say Facebook. This is a website.
Yeah.
Their all images would be stored in a folder,
Yeah.
and the image name and the specific path of the system would be storing in the table.
Okay.
Say if you have you must have a table called user profile. In user profile, the fields should be like username, password, first name, last name, gender, age, education, address and all, right? And profile picture.
Yeah.
These are all your basic attributes. Now in place of profile picture, it would not be storing anything. It would be storing the path of the unstructured data which is there in a folder.
Okay.
How come? The path should be like C drive, program files, that data image folder / 1.jpg. This image name. So this should be the image path. If you just copy this path and store in a database field as a string,
Hmm.
we can get the reference from that image from that folder.
Yes.
Makes sense? So in that way, the unstructured data is maintained in the databases.
Okay.
Likewise, in Naukri, your CVs, that's in PDF format or Word format, right?
Hmm.
So for Naukri, you have a profile picture that will be stored in a profile picture folder in the application, and resume, inside the resume folder, all your Word files would be stored. Word file document format files are unstructured data. So with respect to your profile records, your CVs path also would have been saved in your record.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
in your record, in case of a CV, the path would be something like typing okay. So this complete information would have been stored in the database,
Hmm. Yes.
database table. If you just find this reference, you can directly get into the folder and get the CV.
Yeah.
So this is how the system is also doing.
Okay.
So structured data and unstructured data combine, store in a database as well as folder, and folder references is maintained in the
Tables.
structured data in the tables.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now this was all about the type of data. Very broad sense, it was just a kind of layman. Okay.
Hmm.
If you talk about data, data are broadly classified into two types: structured and unstructured data. Now, it is done. Yeah, complete. Close it.
Close this also.
Yeah, close this. Now when you start up, you'll get a SQL Server Management Studio. Just open it. Hold on. Close there.
Here, no S. Hmm.
You can type here, search here, Management Studio. If you have recently installed applications,
This.
this one.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Should I uninstall the 2008 SQL Server
Yeah,
2008?
I can do it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Studio Manager is not here. Import export utility. Did you download SQL Server Studio Management Studio?
Yeah. The three things which you told I downloaded.
Where is it?
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? In the in my
Uh,
downloads.
Go to that page once again. SQL Server. Just a second. In that folder, I think. will be there, or else you have to
Uh,
download separately.
shall I close this?
Mm, yeah, yeah, you can close it.
Yeah, and this one.
No, this is a SQL Server package. When you would install SQL Server next time, you can just copy this and place it somewhere else. Okay, this is the installation. This is the package. You can just use it for
This
further
one.
installation.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Okay, but Studio Manager is not part of it. It's a separate one. Just open that link once again. My send. Just go to browser and get it downloaded. SQL Server Management Studio. Type. Yeah, you're getting it. 14. Not yes. Oh, yes, this one.
This one. This one.
Yes. Then download this one. This is basically, it's not a data. Okay. It is a client.
Which one?
This one, SQL Server Management Studio is a client.
Client.
Okay.
Okay.
And which you install that SQL Server, it is your database server. Okay.
Okay.
Database server will use very huge resources, whereas SQL Server Management Studio is just a client.
Okay.
You may have SQL Server with you or you may not have, but through SQL Server Management Studio you can browse your SQL Server database from a remote machine.
Okay.
Say in your local machine you have not installed SQL Server, but while working in your project you need to connect to some database server, and database server is in a remote machine. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
but at least you have to install SQL Server Management Studio in your local machine, and through that Management Studio you have to give the credentials like IP address of the remote SQL Server,
User ID and
then
password.
username of the SQL Server, password, and then once you connect you will see all those databases inside the SQL Server.
Okay.
Whereas those databases and the server is might not be there in your own machine.
Yeah.
You're just browsing your server from a remote machine. So SQL Server Management Studio, it is just as a web browser.
Okay.
Okay, in
Okay.
web browser websites are not stored. It is just a console to browse the websites which is hosted in the remote machines.
Okay. So like
So
whatever
it is
so like whatever changes you do to the tables also, that will be stored only in the remote machine. We cannot see
yeah,
those.
yeah. Because the database would not be there in your own machine. You do delete, you do insertion, you do anything,
Hmm.
it will be stored in your SQL Server, your server only. But this is just a client. You have to understand the client and server mechanism.
Okay.
This is the client application through which you will browse the SQL Server database.
Okay.
Okay. Here it will have some, GUI, graphical user interfaces, through which you can interact with your database without writing too much codings. Say
Okay.
for creating, even if you do not have SQL Server Management Studio also, you can work with SQL Server. How come? You have to go to the SQL Server configuration manager. There you get a console where you have to write create database name, then go inside the database. You have to write the tables, create table name, then column names and all. So
Okay.
everything you have to do in query base.
Okay.
But through the Management Studio, everything will be enabled to you based on GUI base. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so you can on tool base you can create the tables, you can delete the tables, you can do anything.
Okay.
So it's an independent component.
Hmm.
You may have multiple database instances, you may have multiple versions of databases, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but only SQL Server, not MySQL or Oracle.
Okay.
You may have SQL Server 2008 and 2014.
Mm.
You can also browse this both the databases in this management studio. You can have multiple connectivity also. You can connect your local machine as well as you can add another uh, connection to connect your remote machine. Now run it, just complete the installation. Then we'll restore that backup to your systems.
So I'll install this.
Yeah, just install this. Uh, we do not ask for many. Oh. So just inside the SQL Server package, create a folder. You create another folder inside it, database server as well as administrator. So this is the admin actually. I mean management studio. Okay, you put these two components.
Oh, okay.
So it's a 16 version, 2016 release,
Hmm.
whereas there is no such relation between this database and studio manager. Okay.
Okay. You can use the same thing
For
for
example,
2012.
have you worked on Oracle ever?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I mean,
In order to,
I'm not
in order
used it.
to, okay, in order to connect to Oracle, you can also have multiple, you know, management studios
Hmm.
like SQL, Oracle SQL Builder. Okay,
Hmm.
that's a console like this. Or
Okay.
else you can also install Toad,
Hmm.
Oracle Toad.
Yeah.
Okay, through Toad also you can browse the databases of Oracle, manage the database of Oracle. So it's a management tool. Okay, it's not a database. It's a management tool through which you will connect to database. You will manage the data.
Okay. So this is a management tool, and the first one which we downloaded is the database, is a server.
Yeah, database server. Okay, that's a server. Even if you do not have management tool in your system, database server is independent. It will work. You can connect through any remote machine also.
Yeah.
Usually on server, this is an optional component, but you install the server. That's a services which will be running around the clock, and from your client machines in your local machines, server will be installed in your data center through your own systems. Sitting in your laptops, you can install SQL Server Management Studio and connect to that server and create the databases there.
Okay.
You don't have to basically install the SQL Server Management Studio in server machine.
Okay.
I'm also sending few more databases.
Okay.
This is another database, you can get it downloaded, because throughout the session we'll be playing with the data. Okay, so you need bulk amount of data. In SSIS we'll use ETL tool. Okay, Microsoft SQL Server Integration Services, through which you will connect it to multiple data sources and will create a data warehouse. Okay,
Okay.
so today we learn only about the lab setups, SQL Server, its basic components, Management Studio, and we'll see the data backup and restore of databases and import export data sources.
Okay.
Tomorrow we go with the tables and all.
Okay.
Management, I'm sending you to documents.
Which one?
Just take it from the chart. Huh? You take this databases, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And another
I'm
two
downloading.
document, I just create a training folder and place all the stuffs there.
Yeah.
These are the databases. You create a data folder and put all those databases inside that.
Okay.
DB folder. Order DB and this asset management DB. Put it there.
Yeah.
And materials. Create another folder called materials. Inside the training only. Training materials, whatever I'll be covering.
Yeah.
So I just sent you two materials. Take it from the chat. Get it downloaded. One is installation guide of SQL Server. Second is backup and restore utility. There are two links I sent. Yeah, just get it downloaded. SQL Server installation guide. And second link, save as. The second link which is sent is backup and restore utility. This one. How to restore the database. Now check if the installation is completed.
No.
Okay. So Microsoft SQL Server native client, just go to that installation one.
Which one? This one.
Yeah. So you're saying Microsoft SQL Server native client. This is basically your adapter or driver. Okay. You will see this option in ODBC connector in your system. Okay. In ODBC, go to program file. Once this is done, okay, you'll get this option. Go to program file, control panel, then administrative tool.
Programs.
Not programs. Here it will be administrative tools. Where it is. This one. Okay.
Okay.
It's a administrative tool. Here we have ODBC, data sources. Okay. ODBC stands for Object Database Connection. Okay. So this is a delegate in your system which will let any other requester to access your system.
Oh, while sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have SQL Server reporting tool, okay, which is a BI application. Now you have SQL Server. is
Yeah.
your database. There are two different engines. Okay. You may have also some other BI tools like Tableau, ClickView, MicroStrategy, anything else.
Hmm.
Now, the question is how those BI tools will interact with your SQL Server.
Hmm.
Okay. There has to be some adapter or delegations. Okay.
Yeah.
So how that delegation will be performed? Here in ODBC you have to make a connection. You have to create a connections.
Okay.
Here there are different connectivity you have to create. So this is ODBC is a console which will just make a delegation between your front end to back end. Okay.
Okay.
For this you have to create a user DSN. I'll tell you once again about this just to give you a heads up that what is SQL Server native client.
Okay.
Start, add a new user DSN,
Where here? Add.
click on add.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see here SQL Server native client.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is this? This is a driver. Okay,
Yeah.
this is a driver which you have just installed right now by SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, that's why it is appearing here. So likewise, you have Oracle database.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have other BA. How to connect with Oracle database? You have to install the Oracle connector here.
Okay.
Okay, OLEDB Oracle connector, or for MySQL database SQL connector, for PostgreSQL Postgre connector. So for every database, this kind of driver has to be installed. Through these, you can connect to database. So click it here.
Finish.
Native client.
Oh, need to
No,
click.
no, 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 no. Finish. Here it will give you the option to create a connection string. Okay, just give any name. Asset management DB. Name,
Name anything.
my connection. My
Okay, my
connection.
connection.
My SQL connection. Okay. Now give the server name as localhost. Server name, write down localhost. Then next.
Yeah.
You see, it is asking for either Windows authentication or SQL Server authentication. Choose
Okay.
second one. Here you have to give this username and password. Username is what? SA, not Manoj.
Oh, okay.
SA
Yeah.
is the default username of SQL Server.
Okay.
So you see, this is the main console which will let you to join with the SQL Server database. Okay.
Okay.
Then next. Then with this you can be able to see all those databases which is there in your database server. Okay.
Okay.
Now cancel it. We'll do it later on. So I just diverted from that because as it was taking time, so I thought to utilize the time here.
Okay.
Okay. Now see, the management studio is up.
No.
Still going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So once it is done and working fine, you can also uninstall your previous version. Okay.
Okay.
Your previous version was SQL Server 2012 or what?
Yeah,
So you
2012.
install. Okay. You can uninstall 2012
Okay.
and we'll use on this. Not do right now because
No, no.
let it to be work fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Open this restoration guide. Yeah. Inside the material.
This one?
This one.
Should I open?
Yeah. This will how to sharing the data of SQL Server with others. This process will guide you. Normally I have Excel database. How do I share you? Either in mail or pen drive or anything.
Yeah.
You can just copy that and send it to you.
Yeah.
It is happening in case of your flat file. Okay.
Yeah.
Because your database is in sort of a small file. But as our database are in servers, okay. Server is completely administrator where all those databases are running. So there are different ways to migrate the data from one system to another system in SQL Server.
Okay.
The first and the best option is to take a backup of that database. Open this file. You have to just take a backup of the database and create a BAK file somewhere in your system.
Okay.
And that BAK file can be shared. Yeah, this is open. This is a restoration process. Okay. The previous one is the backup process.
The first one is backup process, and then
Here is just saying to create a backup.
okay.
Just go down. You can see all those red.
Yeah.
It is showing the backup restoration process. Okay. So before that you have to take a backup. I will show you how to take a backup of your database. However, you might not have any database in your SQL Server, but the backup files which I send it to you, asset management and training DB,
Yeah.
product DB,
Yeah.
you have to take a restore. Okay.
Okay.
You have to right click on the database folder in the SQL Server inside the Management Studio, and there will be option called restore database.
Okay.
Okay. So then it will open a file open dialog box. You have to choose your database, backup and restore. So it will ask you for few options. If the database name is already exists in your database,
Okay.
you have to check this option, override the existing database.
Okay.
If it is a fresh database, you don't have to do anything. It will automatically create the backup. It will automatically create the database inside your system.
Okay.
It should not take that much of time. Is hanged up or not?
No.
Okay, you can take your time. So let it to be installed.
Okay.
So with this, looking into this document, you just
Create that database.
take an attempt to restore that. You don't have to create it, okay?
Yeah,
Because database I have already created and I took the backup and share it with you.
Okay. Okay.
If you want to create your own database, then you can right click, create new database and give the name, and inside the database you can create the tables. Okay.
Okay.
Database is just a folder of the tables.
Tables.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
In database we don't store any informations. Informations we store inside the tables
Table.
in structural way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the tables are consolidated and stored inside the database.
Database. Okay.
And databases are consolidated and stored inside a server.
Okay.
Or that is instances. Okay?
Okay.
Instances. And instances are consolidated and stored inside a server.
Okay.
Now what is our default instance now? It's default. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can also have multiple instances. So one instance data cannot connect to another instance data. They are all completely isolated. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Say in your SQL Server, if you create 2-3 environment, environments like development environment, production environment, okay, and quality environment,
Mm.
then you can create multiple instances. Okay, so
Okay.
in development environment, the same databases would be there, some credentials would be different, so users will access to that instance. They cannot ever access to the production environment.
Okay.
So once your database development is completed, your project is in live now, then you can just take a backup of one instance and restore it in another instance. There is no simple way to migrate from one instance to another instance on the console.
Okay.
You have to take a backup, and it's completely isolated. It's a black box. One instance is completely black box from another.
Okay.
So the granular level is, the first level is server. Inside the server, there are multiple instances.
Instances.
Inside the instances, there are multiple databases.
Databases. Yeah.
Inside database, there are multiple tables.
Tables.
And inside a table, there are multiple fields
Yeah.
or attributes. Okay,
Yeah.
that's it. So field is the bottommost element of a data.
Yeah.
Okay, so let us conclude for today, and
Okay.
you take it time to get it installed and restore your database. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
also send you some more Excel files, so that, and also guidance to import that data, Excel data, to SQL Server. And let's first organize the data very well, and we'll start working on the SQL Server. Well, let us understand the SQL Server, then we'll work on the integration services.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So you can just convert your recording. I'm just leaving the session. Okay. Meet you tomorrow at the same time.
Okay. I just have to click this and just save record. That's it.
Once you close your session, it will prompt you to convert your recording. Don't
Okay.
cancel. You have to
Okay.
convert it. So it will take 10-15 minutes to convert, and
Okay.
it will create a meeting file in your download folder,
Okay. Okay.
my document folder.
Yeah.
So you just open it, and it will create a file,
Okay. Okay.
MP4 file.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Meet you tomorrow.
Yeah. Kind of.